Especially if you're trying to build your first PC, you may want something that's not too expensive but still looks nice and is easy to upgrade in the future when you have more budget. And you may not be prepared to buy used components because you're not as confident with hardware. And also, let's be honest, buying used stuff, even though I love it, a lot of times you have to deal with a lot of issues. I figured today I'm making a video about a nice brand new gaming PC which anybody can build, which is going to be easy to upgrade, look nice from the beginning, and also be a good performer in games. So let's get started. Now, first of all, let's talk about the platform. So you have to go AM5. Intel with the new Core Ultra, they promise they're gonna last for a long time on that socket, but at the moment the older Ryzen 7000 chips are some of the cheapest CPUs out there on a platform that's gonna last a while, which also has a good upgrade path. So I'd say definitely go the 7000 route. Now, if you have a very tight budget, I recommend you buy a Ryzen 5 7600. But if you can spend just a little bit more, like we did here today, I got a Ryzen 7 7700X, and I've seen those go for under $200 for the CPU, which is pretty nice. Motherboard wise, you cannot save too much money, okay? You need to buy something that's not expensive, but not dirt cheap. So a B650 from a good brand is gonna be a good choice. If you want to spend even less, you could buy a B650 from less reputable brands, which are still good. I recommend BioStar, but I especially recommend Qingyue motherboard, the one from AliExpress. I made a full video about it and it was an insane motherboard. And actually, recently, a lot of big YouTubers started covering it. I saw it on Hardware Unboxed, on Techie City, and I think everybody agrees it's a decent motherboard for the price. So if you want to save money, you can buy that one instead of this MSI I've got here today. Now, where you can and should save money if you're on a budget is RAM and SSD. So here I went for the cheapest Gen 4 drive I could find, a Crucial P3 Plus with terrible read and write speeds, but it's cheap, and for gaming it's not really gonna make a difference, even though it's very slow. So you can do that too. For RAM, if you're buying a Ryzen chip, try to get 6000 MHz RAM, but you can just buy a cheap kit like this Corsair I've got here today, which you can buy for around $100, brand new on Amazon for 30 GB. But of course, if you are on an even tighter budget, just buy a 16 GB kit. You'll be plenty fine. To make for a good budget build, you can save money on your SSD, you can save money on your RAM, you can save money on your CPU and on your GPU too, because you're gonna upgrade in the future. But you cannot save money on your case, power supply, and not too much on the cooler, because the case needs to be able to host a bigger GPU in the future with good ventilation. And also, let's be honest, we want the PC to look pretty. The power supply is gonna be able to power up your new graphics card, and we want this to be able to get all the way up to a 4080 with a Ryzen 7 9800X3D, even though I don't think that CPU is a good buy at the moment. You know, in a few years, you can just buy it for cheap, so it's gonna be good to upgrade. Which is why we've gotten a decent cooler from Enermax. It's a 240mm only one water cooler. You don't need to spend like $200 on a cooler like we did in my Height Y70 build with the Valkyria cooler, but you can just buy something that's affordable, that's gonna cool down this Ryzen chip, and the AM5 chips do not run hot at all, especially if you undervolt. As I show on the channel, you're gonna be plenty fine. So 240mm from a decent brand like Enermax is gonna be fine. This also has the fan integrated with RGB, which looks nice and will also cool down your VRMs for extra airflow. For the case, I went with Enermax 2. I basically went only one power supply and case from Enermax, mostly because I wanted to try this case. Okay, it's the Enermax K8, and I haven't seen it online for some reasons. I just saw it on Enermax website and I was like, I want to try it, and it's very, very much unique. So it has a diagonal cut glass on the front, which also goes on the back panel. So it has a bit of glass on the back to complete the design, and 3 included RGB fans, which look nice. Now listen, kind of looks like a certain NZXT case, you know, H510 maybe, but this looks better, it's more modern, and I very much like how this very unique design from NZXT, so the side panel here, internal side panel, is now removable, so I can access it easily. I can put whatever I want and it's just removable via 4 screws. In my case, since we went with a smaller all-in-one and with a smaller GPU, this also covers up the empty space and makes the PC look very nice, in my opinion. So the case, for the price too, because it's really cheap, it's like $70, is very much approved from me, and I'm happy about the choice. And I actually recommend the whole Enermax combo kit to you guys. Power supply too, because Enermax, you know, in the past they made some bad CPU coolers, let's not get wrong about it, but now they're good CPU coolers, and they have pretty much always been pretty good power supply wise. So the new series is no exception. What I've got here today is an 850 watt 80 plus gold power supply, fully modular. It's pretty small, lots of cable. They give you the 12 volt high power cable out of the box with also a dual 8-pin adapter, strangely, which I find cool. And again, just lots of stuff to plug it in. This again will allow you for maximum expandability in the future. Now GPU, again, we had to save money. So I just bought a 4060 Ti Ventus 3X, okay? So it's MSI like the motherboard, you know, it doesn't matter if the brand is the same, okay? I just bought it because it was cheap, and I don't recommend, I don't like the 4060 Ti as a card, you know, I don't like the 4060, I don't like the 4060 Ti. I think the 4070 is a good card, so if you can, just buy a 4070. Ideally a 4070 Super, they're coming down in price a lot, and of course, usually, I'm gonna say it in this video too, I recommend you just buy a used RTX 3070, but you need to be careful because lots of people have mined on these, so you need to find like a good one. 4060 Ti, if your budget is low, is a good choice. Honestly, I would probably just buy a 4060 and like float it until I can get a 4070 Super, personally, you know? But hey, the PC came out nice still, it looks nice, and it has some pretty good gaming performance, especially because I went with the Ryzen 7 7700X. So what we did, and I think you should do too if you're building your first PC like this, it's very simple, okay? Don't be intimidated by it, just go in the BIOS and you want to enable the XMP on your RAM. You may want to take a look at my RAM tuning guide. It's not an in-depth RAM overclocking guide, I just tell you a few parameters which you can change. Then I think you should just undervolt your CPU just to make it run better. Again, it's like 5 minutes if you follow my tutorials, and do the same to your GPU. So you're gonna have a very nice PC. And now what can you do after you've done all that with this PC, gaming wise? It's actually a pretty good machine. You can play at 1080p, any game you want, even Cyberpunk, of course, and at 60 FPS with maximum details. They're gonna run plenty fine. So it's not really, in this configuration, a 1440p gaming PC, but if you're building a PC for 1440p, you can use this with DLSS and play on it until you can upgrade it. So it's gonna be good too. Competitive performance wise, this thing is still doing 240 FPS on Apex Legends, which is very good because Apex nowadays is very CPU intensive, the CPU is good, so we are pushing the frames no matter what. In Warzone, it's not running as good. We are doing, like, our target is gonna be around the 144 Hz 1080p if you're playing Warzone. In Fortnite, you can actually push over 300 if you set the graphics low enough. So it's gonna be a pretty good entry-level PC. But as usual, I want my videos to be interactive. So if you would change anything, let me know down below. If we can make it better for the people watching, we can do it together, and I would really like it. And I would also really like it if you dropped a like and subscribe to support me so I can keep making those videos and keep annoying you guys. And I hope to see you guys again if you decide to stick around. Bye bye.